Welcome to the Intercourse Show. I am your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very exciting show for you. We are discussing Dr. Umar and his comments that was made to both Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. Apparently, Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley are hitting the circuits and they're shaming Black people to go vote for Kamala Harris. Not necessarily for any particular policy, not necessarily for any particular reason other than the fact that she's Black like them. And solely because she's Black like them, she should be in the office. Now, for those of us who's been keeping score, for those of us who's voted for Barack Obama and who didn't get anything out of that, we should totally bypass the experience of doing that and solely focus on getting the first Black African American woman into office. Now, there are other Black people who don't feel that this groupthink approach is the proper approach to take. There are some Black people who like to be individual thinkers and who like to think that candidates should earn their votes based on policies that align with their values. And so there hasn't been a policy to date that I can think of that Kamala Harris has spoken to that aligns with voters' values. But despite that, you still have the celebrity groupthink folks who's trying to usher the rest of us Black folks to vote that way solely for the color of her skin. And Dr. Umar apparently took issue with this, and he proceeds to challenge this notion. So let's go ahead and jump into this video and then we'll react to it.
Kamala Harris, they have a right to do that.
Before y'all start calling my radio show and DMing me, talking about why you ain't asked no hard-hitting questions, that ain't what this is. I'm throwing a lob. This is an alley-oop for a dunk because this administration needs to get the word out of what they're actually doing and what they're actually accomplishing so we can stop all this foolishness about what you're doing for Black people. Can't nobody come out with no agenda and call it this for Black people and expect to get in the White House. You got to play the game different. Y'all know what this is. So now this next question is another lob for her to dunk. Because they done a lot, man. But we see, I'm on this radio show and I'm hearing all these people talking about, I'm not voting if they not doing nothing for us. Listen to me. If you do not vote, the analytics will show. They know how many women vote, they know the age you are when you vote. If we don't vote, how we gonna ask for something next time? If you ain't got no voting power, you talking about reparations. Ain't nobody finna give you no reparations and you don't vote. Oh, why you think they finna give us some money? No how, man. I hope they do. They owe us. I'll go down there. I'm sorry. Madam, I know I ain't coming back next year already.
I'm just sick of the Black people on the internet talking about I'm not with her. Okay, so if you're not with her, that means you with Trump. And y'all need to block every last one of their asses on Facebook and on Instagram and social media and stop. Like that's just garbage.
Yeah,
it's just garbage.
Can
Everybody
we be
got to
united
find,
on anything? Yeah.
Can't agree on a damn bucket of chicken. One person want a hot dog.
I always
Black
complain.
folks get on my damn nerves, man. Why everybody making all these celebrities making all these videos going off on Kamala Harris and stuff, and then the Black men, Kamala Harris didn't prosecute you and treated you bad in court. I got treated bad in court too, but I'm with her because a vote for her. If you sit at home and you don't support her, you are definitely supporting Donald Trump. You can vote for who you want to, but don't be trying to encourage other people and sit up there and put bad stuff. Where's that same energy for Donald Trump? Yes. We need to stand with her. She's great. She will make a great president. And what a blessing to be living in the time where a Black woman can become president of the United States of America. In our time, we get a Black man and a Black woman.
I have to pause right here. So according to Ricky Smiley, if she sort of has a history of incarcerating black men and mistreating them and giving them sentences that they didn't deserve to have, and you fear that she doesn't really have an agenda for people that look like you, you still should put that aside and still vote for her because the alternative is voting for Trump. So irrespective of how she actually treated people that look like you, don't take that into consideration when it's time to vote. Because Ricky Smiley tells you he's with her irrespective of her record, of her history, her agenda. You know, if she stands for policies that, you know, allows drag queens to just come into your kid's school and read stories and have inappropriate conversation, inappropriate books, and that's the agenda that she's pushing forward, you should disregard that because she's a black woman, and we can have not one black person in office during our lifetime, but two of the opposite sex. And we should just totally throw away our values, totally throw in our beliefs that certain things are inappropriate for us as Christians, and just vote with her. Why not? Because Ricky Smiley's with her. And so is Steve Harvey. And we got to throw her the lob questions. We don't want to make this hard for her. We don't want to make her actually have to answer any questions. Why? Why would we present something to her that she would, you know, policy related, that she would have to actually concoct some reasonable responses for? Why should we keep track of what our votes last time got us? The last time we voted her in and things didn't get better for us. Why should that matter? Like, she's running to be president this time, and we should support that because Ricky Smiley said so. Now, look, I'm not telling people how to vote, but I think that's a bad argument. If Kamala Harris wants your vote, she should speak to some policies that aligns with your values. And if you're a Christian, I don't know how many policies she's got in that bag that's going to align with your values. So, something to think about. It's this groupthink, and because you're black, you have to support the person who's black, even if you don't agree with anything that they are pushing agenda-wise. But Ricky Smiley says he's with her, so you should be with her because you're black and she's black. Well, she's Jamaican, no, she's Indian, but she kind of looks black, so you should go with it, according to Ricky Smiley. It's an argument. We'll see.
Become president, that's unheard of.
Come on, man.
Stop it.
Messy. Be on
Stop
the right
it, black
side of
people.
history. Be
Yeah.
on
Stop
the
it.
right side of history.
Do your homework. Black
Hold
people.
up. Let me just tell you something right here that could be very historic. And Kay pointed this out to me. If Kamala Harris is elected, she would be sworn in
She could be
on
sworn in
MLK Day
by the first black Supreme
and
Court
possibly
woman
by
justice.
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah.
Does
Stop
that
it.
not give you chills?
Come on.
Stop it.
Does
You-
that not send
Maria,
just make your whole body vibrate?
Maria,
Oh my
I can go
gosh.
deep in the neck. You got a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated reading in a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated into the damn White House. What's
Come
wrong
on
with
now.
y'all?
Come on, man.
MLK holiday.
But y'all
Baby,
mad because she ain't
y'all.
talking about reparations.
They offered me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. I don't want your money, but we can definitely do the interview. Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, listen. If Uncle Steve Harvey and Uncle Ricky Smiley want to go hard for Kamala Harris, That is their business. If Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey want to go hard for Kamala Harris, they have a right to do that. They have a right to do that. What they don't have a right to do is shame other Africans into voting for her. They cannot do that. They were wrong for that. You can't shame people into not voting for someone who has no record of doing nothing for them. Now that's where they're wrong. That's where they're wrong. You know, Steve Harvey's logic didn't make any sense. He said, if we don't vote, we won't get nothing. Well, you've been voting and you ain't got nothing. It's time to hold the vote until we get something. It's time to hold the vote until we get something. Ricky Smiley, I love my brother, but
that is a fact. The man is not lying. We've been voting Democrat. Most black people has voted Democrat and have not gotten anything from it. If you look at some of these democratically run cities, they're not doing good at all. And now there's a whole migrant thing in Chicago. There's a whole rebellion against the mayor that was elected there because people who live there are not getting their portions. Black people who live there are not getting what they feel is fair. And now there's arrangements being made to house the migrants because they're a new group of voting blocks. Black people are not happy about that. They feel neglected. So now you got these celebrity talking heads telling you that you're not, like, come on. You'll have somebody from the sororities swearing in another person who was in a sorority, and wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't you feel good about yourself if you helped to make that happen? Not wouldn't you feel good about yourself if your politicians who you helped elect actually did something that actually benefited you and your community, you and your children. But you should just do it because you can get two ladies in a sorority together and you would have been a part of that. Dr. Umar's not buying it. He's clearly like, listen, man, this is some nonsense. This groupthink is nonsense. And what's so funny is Dr. Umar is not exactly a Republican. If anything, he's critical of both parties, but I think he tends to lean more Democrat than he does Republican. And he's clearly not a fan of this argument that's being made. Look, people should have the right to vote as they see fit. I take that position. We all are free moral agents. Make the choice that you feel is best suits you. I'm not going to tell people how to vote other than to say, vote your values. That being said, my values are very conservative with regards to the word of God. So you can kind of know who I'm voting for. That being said, Dr. Umar is now at a point where he's saying, no, like, get something in return for your vote. Don't just go outside and vote for people that don't care about you and ain't going to do nothing for you. You know, at what point does that get old? How many more decades of doing that will we need to go through before we decide maybe we need to make a different decision? People need to earn your vote. They need to earn the right to say that you are who's representing them. They need to earn it. Don't just give the vote away just because the person looked like you. What do they believe? How is that vote going to impact your life? Is it going to create the type of community and the type of environment that you want your children to grow up in? Will it put more money in your pocket, or will it take more money out your pocket? Will it give you more freedom, or will it take more freedom away from you? You know, will it give you better opportunities, or will it restrict your opportunities? That's what you're voting. And don't let people sway you because they're trying to guilt trip you. It's crazy. Back to Dr. Umar.
he was pretty emotional. He's talking about Supreme Court Justice Ketanji swearing in Vice President Harris. They both belong to Black Greek fraternities. They'll get sworn in on Dr. King's Earth Day. That's all empty symbolism. We're done with that. That's all empty symbolism. We're done with that. That's all empty symbolism. We're done with that. You have to give us tangibles, not symbols, Brother Ricky Smiley. Tangibles, not symbols. One is an AKA, one is a Delta. What that got to do with miseducation? One is an AKA, one is a Delta. What that got to do with mass incarceration? One is an AKA, one is a Delta. What that got to do with gentrification and homelessness? That is nothing but empty symbolism. The member of one black sorority swearing in the member of another black sorority on the solar return of a brother ancestor, Dr. King, who belonged to a black male fraternity. That's all fine and well. But telling black people they should vote for the symbol, telling black people they should vote for the symbol is not going to serve us, Brother Ricky. We need substance, my brother. We need substance. Medgar Evers did not die for Kamala Harris to become president. Stop the cap up. Dr. King did not die for Kamala Harris to become president. Stop the cap up. The purpose behind Fannie Lou Hamer's Voting Rights Act, the purpose behind the Fannie Lou Hamer Voting Rights Act was for black people to be in a position to use their vote so they could receive tangibles. Voting is not supposed to be a symbol. Voting is supposed to be a transaction, a power transaction. You want my vote? We want your resources. You want my vote? We want the resources. Voting is not supposed to be a ritual. It is not supposed to be a symbol. It is supposed to be a transaction. You want my vote? We want some tangibles. If we can't get no tangibles, you can't get no vote. Steve Harvey said, they can't give us no reparations. What'd he say? We're not going to get no reparations if we don't vote. You've been voting Democrat for 93 years, Steve Harvey. Been voting Democrat for 93 years, Steve Harvey. Been voting Democrat for 93 years, Steve Harvey. How many more years you got to vote Democrat to get some reparations? The problem with you black celebrities, the problem with you black celebrities, you are the new black bourgeoisie. You are the new black bourgeoisie. And you are going out of your way to stay relevant with the white power structure by trying to shame black people into voting for people who don't do anything with them. That ended with Barack Obama. That ended with Barack Obama, the new generation of American Africans. These under 30s today, they not like the under 30s of Barack Obama 16 years ago. See, 16 years ago, the 30-year-olds of today were 15. 16 years ago, the 30-year-olds of today were 14. They were babies under Obama. They were babies under Obama. But you fail to realize they grew up on Dr. Umar Ifatunde doctrine. These 30-year-olds, they grew up on my messages. They grew up on me. So you can't seduce them with emotions. You can't seduce them with intellectualism. You can't seduce them with symbols and empty promises. They grew up under the prince of Pan-Africanism. They've been watching me and listening to me for 15 years. You can't get over on them like you got over on their parents. You can't get them to the polls on November the 4th with no damn a Delta swearing in an AKA on an Alpha's birthday. That don't mean nothing to us. We respect Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I love my Delta Queens. We respect Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I love my Alpha Queens. We Alpha Phi Alpha Sorority. I love my Alpha brothers, but that ain't got nothing to do with this. This is not sorority business. This is American African business. I said this is not sorority business. This is American African business. And if Kamala Harris Donald Trump, Jill Stein, Cornel West, if they can't take care of African business, the American African business, don't come to me. Black vote ain't for sale no more. Black vote ain't for sale. We bartering on business. We standing on business. Bring us some tangibles or get out of my face. Ricky Smiley, I love you. But crying on the radio for Kamala Harris, my brother, that's an all-time low. Don't do that again, Ricky Smiley. Don't you get on your radio show and cry for Kamala. Don't you do that, my brother. If you want to cry for Kabama Harris, if you want to cry for Kabama Harris, you do that in the privacy of your house. But if we're going to be honest, Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley, and I love you both, no hate to my big brothers, but if we're going to be honest, Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, y'all only carried on because y'all got paid to carry on. Can we please be honest? Can we see? I want y'all to understand, overstand, and understand.
I have to stop right here just to make a comment. He is making some valid points. Like him or not, Dr. Umar sometimes does come out and speak the truth. And one of the points that he made is that these people are not being intellectually honest with their audience. You know, they're not. You know, as a paid spokesperson, you're making a comment, and I feel like that should be disclosed. Like, these people are paying you to say something, and at some point, you know, you do have to take inventory of what's being said, and where it's coming from. And Dr. Umar really doesn't have the tolerance for it. So I commend him for at least speaking up and saying that. And Dr. Umar, to my knowledge, is a liberal guy. So the fact that he's saying this is pretty shocking. But I digress. Let's go back to him.
Understand what King Kong is talking about. Y'all carried on because y'all got paid to carry on. Kamala Harris and the Democratic plantation is paying you celebrities, paying you to shame black people into voting. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of that vote. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of that vote. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of the vote, but they being paid, y'all being bought. They offer me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. I don't want your money, but we can definitely do the interview. They offer me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. Yes, we can do the interview. Keep your damn money. King Kong consciousness ain't for sale. I'm one of the real ones. Silverback Garvey Gorilla. I'm one of the real ones. Silverback Garvey Gorilla. Don't come to me with no propositions for money. I don't live for no money. I'm not one of these goofy ass rappers whose whole life is nothing but what you can buy and own. You dealing with real African DNA. This is real ancestral energy over here. I'm not no Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. You don't drop no check off and say, get the Negroes to the plantation on November the 4th. You don't drop no check off and say, get the Negroes to the plantation. Oh, yes, brothers and sisters. Costa Rica, y'all better be ready tomorrow night. Limon province, where Marcus Garvey used to live, where Marcus Garvey used to work, where Marcus Garvey edited his newspaper, La Nacion, Costa Rica, Limon province. King Kong is coming in the footsteps of Garvey. All Central American Africans, get your ass to Limon province tomorrow. We're going to organize. We're going to organize my Spanish-speaking African brothers and sisters. I said, we're going to organize my Spanish-speaking African brothers and sisters. Limon in the footsteps of Garvey. Puerto Viejo Saturday in the footsteps of Garvey. Come on, Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. Ricky Smiley. Let me come on the Ricky Smiley show. Let's talk about election 2024. Let me come on the Steve Harvey show. Talk to me, Steve. How much did they pay you to push Kamala? The price is right. Steve Harvey, was the price right, my brother? Was the price is right? When the price is right, the Negropeans will unite. When the price is right, the Negropeans will unite. When the price is right, The Negropeans will unite. Tangibles over tokenism. We want tangibles over tokenism. We want tangibles over radio talk. We want tangibles over television talk. We want tangibles over tokens. Tangibles over television. Tangibles over time. No. These 30-year-olds grew up on me. You can't con them the way you con their parents. These 30-year-olds grew up on me. You can't con them the way you con their parents. The Ifa Tunde Army. The Ifa Tunde Army. I think I'm going to hold an under 30-year-old march. We're going to have a march. My under 30-year-olds, y'all ready for the march for tangibles? I can't wait to see who they roll out in Chicago. We didn't see Megan Thee Stallion. We didn't see my brother Quavo. We didn't see Ricky Smiley crying on the radio, Steve Harvey with his old strategies for voting. Who they going to have speaking for us at the Democratic National Convention? Who's it going to be? LeBron James, Oprah Winfrey? Who they going to pull out of their hat at the Democratic National Convention next week? Who they going to pull out of their hat next week, family? Who y'all think they're going to get? I hope my sister Beyonce don't show up for them. Who they going to get at the Democratic National Convention? Who y'all think they got in the pipeline? Somebody said Kamala Harris don't even have a... Somebody said Kamala Harris don't even have no political positions on her website. They said Kamala Harris don't even have any political positions on the website. They said Kamala Harris don't even list what she stands for on the website. They said black folks is so brainwashed into identity politics. They said black folks are so brainwashed into identity politics. They said black folks are so...
I have to pause the video here just to make a comment. How disrespectful is that? If that's actually true, that she doesn't have any actual policies on her website, that means she is solely running on the basis of identity politics, and she doesn't have an agenda that she wants to win the American people over on. That's sad. They don't even have to tell you a plan anymore to earn your vote. It's almost like you should just vote because I look like you. So if that's true, now I don't know if that's true. I haven't been on her website, but if that's true, now I haven't heard her speak much to any policies. So there might be some truth to that, but it's crazy. It says everything that needs to be said. I mean, the guy's got a point. You know, let them earn your vote.
Brainwashed into identity politics. You don't need to tell them what you're going to do for them, because we never do nothing for them. Just tell them you're black and they should vote. Just tell them you're black and they should vote. You don't even have to give black people a platform. Just be black. Just be black.
Nice.
Those emotional religious Negroes, they don't know their left hand from their right hand. Just tell them you're black and vote for me.
Bad. That's how they do us. Unfortunate.
I think D.L. Hughley. Wasn't D.L. Hughley on that same Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley stuff? Well, they said D.L. Hughley I think they said D.L. Hughley was trying to hold her accountable at first, and then his fraternity had to put him in check. Is that true, brothers and sisters? Somebody said D.L. Hughley tried to hold Kamala Harris accountable, and then his Black Greek fraternity chin-checked him. They said D.L. Hughley tried to stand tall, but then the Black Greek fraternity bourgeoisie had to put him in his place.
Okay, so we just saw the clip where Dr. Umar made his points. This was a raw video that it seems like he recorded while he was in a mall or something, but it's causing some stir online. There's some people who are taking issue to that. I believe Steve Harvey did a response video to it, trying to clown Dr. Umar for making the points that he made. I don't think it's unreasonable for the man to say, have these politicians earn your vote. I don't think that's unreasonable. And as Black people, we ought to mean more to these politicians than to be these mindless people who just vote on the basis of our identity. At what point do you say no? Like, sell me on an agenda that you have, on a plan that you have that's going to help to benefit my life or help to benefit my community. Like, what is that? What is that actual plan? Yes, Trump may be the worst person in the world. Yes, he may be all these things we said he was. Okay, besides all of that, what are you going to do for my vote, with my vote? Because these are the people that's in power. She's been in power, and things are not good. Inflation is high. People are making less money. Things are more costly at the store. People are getting put out of their homes because they can't afford the rents. People lost freedoms. People was forced to take shots that they didn't want to insert inside of their bodies. People are being told that they can't oppose their children getting a sex change because somehow the kid should have the right to make the choice at school, and the school can not notify the parents. Why is this an agenda that anybody would want to support? I don't know. But some people will still say, that's my girl. We're going to go with her. The agenda doesn't align with what they say they believe, especially if they're Christian. So Dr. Umar is simply saying, like, nah, make sure you're voting your values. Make sure these people earn your vote, and make sure they respect you, because all of this, you need to vote because she looks like you thing needs to go out the door. Anyhow, that's my thoughts. Just saw that clip, had some raw emotions, some raw reactions to it. I'm not telling nobody how to vote, what to do, but I mean, I think you need to consult with your conscience and see what you're comfortable with doing when it comes time to making that decision. I thank you for joining me for the show. For those who are not connected, I ask that you like and subscribe. And I encourage you to stay connected and join the conversation. All right. Till we speak again. Peace and blessings.